I'm sitting at my desk today, peering out, excuse me, at again another miserable, overcast day in February. And I've got a bit of a sore throat. I was out doing a talk yesterday up in Wendover, which is near Aylesbury. I think it's in Hertfordshire, or Berkshire. I think it's Hertfordshire. I don't know that area terribly well, that neck of the woods. I go past it on the M40 many times. Anyway, we've had such dreadful weather. It's raining, it's dull. I know it's February, but it is almost as if those people that want to dim the skies, those people who are perpetrating the evils of this world, you know, they give us one sunny day once in a blue moon. It seems once every 2 weeks now. And they're taking the mickey, really, aren't they, with this perpetual geoengineering that actually the government admit is going on. I've spoken about this before. And this has got to stop. We've got to get on top of this amongst all the other things, amongst the infant deaths that seem to be accelerating, that might have been the result of a medical intervention that's taken place recently, in which now we're seeing not only people dropping down to the floor lifeless, but we're also seeing the results of putting in some serum into pregnant women and discovering that the babies are just not surviving term. And nobody wants to talk about it. Certainly, you know, people in government don't want to address this. And yet we all know what's going on. One of the things at the talk that I was giving, one of the things, the messages I was saying is effectively, because people were curious about where the channel is now going, and many of them were very excited for me, and thank you very much for all the very kind comments, and of course all those amazing donations, and I really appreciate it. But one of the concerns was, that I wasn't going to take you, the viewer, with me on the journey, where we kind of look for land and start to get back to growing, having a more basic life, rearing animals, growing food, watching the sunrise, watching the sunset, making mistakes, making huge errors, discovering things, learning, and simplifying life, escaping away from the city, the noise, the radiation, the dirty electricity, and getting back to, I suppose, as near to possible to nature and to how we once lived before this last 100 to 200 years, of which has been a dreadful experiment, really, in which we've learned how not to live. The advance of technology that has advanced so rapidly that we have been so dumbed down by the programming of mainstream media that we've allowed ourselves to be injected with poisons on the basis that it's supposed to be saving ourselves and is good, on the basis that science has all the answers, and we've made science our God and our guru. And actually, of course, it turns out that science is the least of those things. It may help us in certain areas, but to put everything based on science, clearly, from the experiment of the last 100 to 200 years, has been a complete misnomer. We've been governed by this science. We've been forced by false science into things that have enticed us, made us think they're important, and we've lost integrity and our connection with this amazing planet and this amazing world. And now we've allowed the small number who are controlling the weather and the skies and bringing in all this rain to keep us down as we work and toil 9 to 5 and usually longer and try and commute to our place of work which also is just simply a means to earn some debt currency in order to pay bills that we don't really need, or these trinkets that we are told are supposed to make our life better and make us happy. And one of the messages I said in my talk yesterday was, we've really got to evaluate who we are and what we are. And if we don't like this situation, we've got to just turn our backs. I mean, I've been saying this for months. Turn our backs on those that would control us. Turn our backs on those that have inverted democracy. Turn our backs and not put up with it. And just not say, look, we're the ones that makes the rules. We're man and women. We're not employees of a government corporation with these birth certificate names, and we're not citizens, we're not residents, we're not all these things that link up to this corporation. We are living and breathing men and women with boys and girls. We're not parents with children. We are genuine souls. And we need to get back. Now, I was at the end of my talk, a lovely lady came up to me who's been on the show before, and she very generously gave me, she said, I've got a present for you. And she gave me this book, which I've yet to read, called Earthing, the most important health discovery ever, it says. And I've had people talking about earthing on the channel and getting away from the EMFs, the radiation, but connecting to the planet and becoming wholesome again. And many people look at this as if it's sort of woo-woo or a bit, you know, namby-pamby of all of that, that they look at the modern world with all the innovations and the modern technical electronic equipment as being the be-all and end-all. And they've kind of missed the point. They've missed the point that we are a being that should be in harmony with this planet. And we're separated from it. We don't walk on the earth. We don't lie on the ground. We don't connect with the soil. We've effectively allowed corporations, dead entities, corpse, that's what it means. We've allowed ourselves to be drawn in to these dead entities and be part of it. And the name that we go by, this artificial thing that we think is us, this name in capitalized letters that comes on all the bills and the passports and everything else, that we believe is us, and yet of course it isn't. It isn't us. We are, what are we? Spirits in a flesh and blood body. We're not just on a paper corporation, an idea. We are real. But we've allowed ourselves to become embroiled in this and follow the acts and statutes and think these rules must apply to us as living and breathing men and women. And nothing would be, of course, further from the truth, but we've been duped. And over the course of the 15 months I've been learning this, learning who I am, and it's now time, as I've said in my recent videos, to just stop talking about all this stuff and getting on with it. And that's where I will be taking you, the audience. But it doesn't happen overnight. People seem to think, oh, it just happens, you know, 1 minute you're in your home, the next minute you're out there farming. We've got to find the land, we've got to make the soil better again, we've got to reconnect. But I'm very much looking forward to that journey, and I'm urging more and more people to reconnect with the earth and with nature, and turning their backs on the tyranny that is pushing us ever more into digital slavery. And that we are waking up to the fact that this future that's been painted for us, that if we consent to it, will not be as beneficial as they say. So all I can say really is we need to think very clearly about what we're consenting to and what we want. After all, no man is above another. No one can tell you what to do and how you should live your life on this planet unless you consent. And I, for one, don't consent to the dead entities and the dead corporations. I, for one, want to stand in the sunshine and rejoice with my friends and my family and my loved ones, grow food and thrive.